So yesterday afternoon I was talking about how it was weird here in the Appalachian Basin at the end of January. It was 54 degrees and we had a blue sky. It looked like summertime. This is the next morning. Super Service truck's covered in snow. It's 31 degrees. It's freezing. So, you know, that's going to do whatever it does. Alrighty then. But what I'm doing, I've built these gates, and I put the gates on the trailer. I was going to take those out. Actually, I did take them out with the forklift yesterday, but I was thinking we might get some of this action, and I throwed them up on the trailer. The trailer does make it a little bit easier for me to move them if I don't like where they're at. So I brought them in, and we're going to get going on the post. If we look at our picture here, you can see the post, what this post is. You know, it's got the padlock protector, these parts here. So it's just a matter of cleaning these up, welding the cap on them, and welding those on them. So I'm going to do that. Got that doozing done. I'm done with the positioner, so I'm going to put it back on the casters and roll it over there out of the way. All the welding and fabrication work is done, but I'm responsible for painting and delivering these things. And I've had some correspondence with my job contacts. There's two people that I've spoke with or emailed with the DNR, trying to get a feel for how they were going to unload them, how they'd want them packaged and things of that nature. One of the issues you have with painting something like this is, you know, if you put paint on something like this and try to flip it over and then paint the other side or whatever, you know, things like that, the more you handle it, the more damage you do to it. What I'm getting at, I guess, I want to try the best I can to figure out how I'm going to do the material handling of these gates and get the paint on them and haul them with doing the least amount of damage possible. But at the same time, I spoke with the guy that's going to be unloading these when I deliver them to where they go, and I asked him how he was going to unload them. They're going to use a tractor, and I asked if he had a tractor with forks, and they said no. I said, well, how are you going to unload them with the tractor? And they've got a tractor with a loader and a chain. He said he's just going to wrap a chain around them and unload them that way. So what I've got to keep in mind is that means that these things are going to have to be painted. They're going to have to go on my trailer. I'll let them dry as much as I can, but I can't leave them in the shop heated for 8 months to cure. So they got to get painted. I got to load them. I got to strap them down. I got to deliver them. They're going to wrap a chain around them, jerk them off the trailer. They're going to store them behind a building, and I was told they were going to put them on the ground. So once that happens, they're going to pick them up off the ground and load them on a different truck or trailer, take them to the site, probably set them on the ground again, then pick them up and set them in place. And he said if there's any damage to the paint, he'll just touch them up best he can once they're installed. So overall, what I'm getting at is I don't think it's going to be a huge benefit for me to try to do any sort of a extremely high quality paint job, because these things are going to get the hell beat out of them by the time they get where they're going. And it's not a big deal anyways. You know, people say, well, get some paint on it so it doesn't rust. With something like this, just to give you an idea of some basic math, the thinnest piece of steel on these gates is 1/4 of an inch, or over 1/4 of an inch. And the most corrosive earth that you can put steel in, which is, you know, the part of this that's going to rot the fastest, would be the post that's in the ground. Post in the ground is going to rust way faster than what's outside of, you know, the gate that's not buried. But if you buried a post in the ground with no paint on it, in the most corrosive, salty ground that you could, engineers say that that would corrode at a rate of, the maximum would be 20 micron per year. Quarter inch thick is 6,350 micron. So at 20 micron per year, it would take 317 years for 1/4 inch steel to rot away. So even though we are really concerned about rust on a lot of things like body metal on a car, it's 18 gauge. You know, it's 5 mil. When it loses its protection, it is very soon going to have a hole rusted clear through it. It's a whole different thing when you're talking about something that's 1/4 of an inch thick or more. So I don't think we're really as concerned about major rust protection with these. Probably the biggest reason to make them bright red is they're going to be a lot easier to see. And overall, I've just got to figure out how to get them painted and get them loaded and strap them down and get them there and get them offloaded with the least amount of damage possible so that they look as best as I can get them to look. So that's the goal. And I'll tell you what I started out with here. This is a mcstabbinator, is what I've built here. And with this mcstabbinator, I'm building this, and I'm going to put it on the trailer, and I'm going to make it so that these pipes stabs up inside of them posts. And if you think about my posts that go with this, I've also got those pipes right there. And what those are is that's the little bit of material that's left over from the joint of pipe right there, is 4 inch. And I'm going to put them right on here, and that'll give me something to stand my posts up on. So just for fun, I can say that this green pipe here, that's Dalton's pipe. And we've built Dalton a scrap bin with that. And we built Johnny a bumper with it. And that 1 inch flat bar there, that's left over from the bridge I built there last summer. That was cool. Built that 54-foot iron bridge. That video, I think, has got over 30,000 views now, if you want to check that out. But that 1" by 6" flat bar right there is left over from that. This thing I'm using back here is left over from the Pine Hill trailer tongue rebuild I did for my buddy Eric. So we're recyclating on that. And that's pretty cool. And really, I got to give this to the Braggs, this thing, when I get done. Because they're really, them guys, Dalton really was the one that originally hooked me up with that bridge job in the first place. And Tim's the one hooked me up with this gate job, really. I mean, them guys are like, they're awesome, them guys. So I'm building this for them, really. Because what Tim can do, you know, he can take this thing up to his place and put some cannon fuse down in that hole and put some gunpowder in there, and he could launch Coors Light cans across the pond. That'd be all right. Of course, when the weather gets nice in the spring, Dalton will have to go get it because his wife will want this on the porch. She'll plant flowers in them and have her little flowers, you know. They'll want that right on the front porch, I'm sure. Once that happens, you know, Tim's not going to be able to launch beer cans with it anymore, but anywhooser, I better get going. So that's enough yakking. Let's get tacking. So there's that stabinator. It's all welder rated up. I set these here across this piece. Got to weld them on there. And we got this lot of paint and rust and reflectors and stuff. If you're welding stuff like this, you should grind that off. I'm not gonna. I'm just telling you that you should. I'm just gonna crank the welder up and burn through that stuff. So if this doozing that I've been doozing is confusing, watch this. All right, you might actually start smelling what I'm stepping in. All right, watch this.